Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to the episode of my F1 2021 My Team Career Mode, episode number 59 today for the Portuguese Grand Prix in Season 4. If you guys did miss the previous one at Imola, uploaded a few days ago, then be sure to go check that one out. But we're only 3 rounds in, we've already had quite a bit of chaos, and I'm sure Portimao is going to be one. It's a literal roller coaster. It was a very tough race for us last season, actually, when it debuted into My Team Career Mode and the game. So curious to see, a bit worried maybe about what the pace of our car could be, but also more curious about the other teams, because we haven't really got a true pecking order yet. I don't think we will for a couple of more races, but one thing that definitely is true is that if you have, a little bit of bad luck or your strategy doesn't go to plan, it massively hurts you down this season because the grid is so close. But without further ado, let's get back into the action. One thing that is clear though from the get-go already is that Jenson Button is seeming to be very consistent. 2 races only though, so let's see. Third time lucky. Let's see if he's able to pull out another good result. Not being off, obviously, the top 2 steps of the podium. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Long may it continue for his sake and for the team's sake, obviously, but I want to be up there, so we're going to have to try and pull up our socks a little bit, but it's going to be difficult because into Saturday, we've got a lot of precipitation. It is full wet conditions here around Portimao. Oh my, this is horrendous for me because I already am not great at Portimao anyway versus the AI, let alone in the wet. And case in point, we make an absolute howler off the fire red lights. We get control of our car in Q1. We don't put it in the wall though, so we can continue, thankfully. I was getting flashbacks to when we did just this in this part of the track, remember, last season when we spun it across on the grass on the left here and went into that wall on the right and ended Q2 early. Hopefully, we've avoided that just then, but hopefully there's not another situation where we end the session early from a crash. But oh my goodness me, we are cutting it fine. It is so slippery out there around Portimao. This is going to be difficult. I fueled up the car for 3 consecutive laps, so we're just going to lap and lap and lap and try and find a groove in this car, as it were. And we're gaining 4.6 seconds on 1 lap there because of that kind of half spin at the end of the last corner. So yeah, a lot of time to be found. But I mean, back on the note of how Jenson Button is doing so far this season, he is an icon teammate, obviously, one of the legend drivers that you can sign, so maybe no surprise. I feel like any of those 7, isn't it, 7 icon drivers that you could sign, I wasn't sure how he was going to perform. His experience, his racecraft awareness, very high, but his pace, his overall pace, actually quite low. Just like obviously in real life, he never was the greatest qualifier ever, but he had that awareness and racecraft, especially in wet conditions or changeable conditions, more like, and just situations where you have to think on the fly. Very clever on the road, and I guess that's kind of what you need almost. Like, we've got the pace in the car, and we've just about got the pace in the car with him, and then he's doing the rest of it by being aware, avoiding these incidents like, Gasly, Leclerc, and Lando had last race where they tripped over each other. So I think you can actually see why maybe Button is doing so well so far. But getting back to the actual task at hand of getting through into Q2 and talking about the driving, Gasly tops the session. Really good performance from him. Again, like I said, Button up there, Sainz and Perez as well. The 2 Williams knocked out though. So the wet conditions kind of catching Williams out and kind of showing that they've still got a few traits from being a lower team here, and Alpine improving a lot in the wet. So I guess, maybe it has to do with the kind of straight line speed, the engine power, maybe not factoring in as much for Alpine there, and then also Williams as well, maybe losing a bit of that performance because they have to whack on some downforce for these conditions. I don't know, they've set themselves up for the wet or what, but we're now through into the second part of qualifying, and it's about trying to get through now into the top 10 shootout. But, we were lower than the top 10 there in that session, and I'm not, I'm not guaranteed to get in here, so we need to make sure we get these laps in and hopefully have a nice smooth one to get us through into the top 10. So 1.3 gained here on the previous lap we did, so we need to gain a bit more, bit of wayward on the left hand side there, bit of a drift across the curb. Big improvement on that second lap, but we continue to go on for a 3rd and consecutive lap. Purple first sector, green the second, so this is looking quite promising, but there's only 4 tenths gained to say we went purple in the first by I think a couple of tenths there, so we lost a bit of time really in sector 2, and then we're wiggling around where we gain more time, and we're up into P2. That was P2 alongside Button, so I thought we were going to be safe. But we're not. Everyone went out again and set even better lap times. I took it for granted. Like I said this in episode 1 of this season. You can't take it for granted. But I did just that. I thought, oh, we're sitting in P2. Jenson's P3. Oh, we should be fine just to sit in the garage. No, we're not. We're knocked out. Lando and Ricciardo, both McLaren's knocked out. Us three have had a howler there. Russell's through in the Alpine car. He's been nowhere so far this season. He's through. Both Red Bulls, Ferrari, AlphaTauri and Mercedes through. We've been caught out massively along with the 2 McLaren boys here. So we've got a lot of work to do in the race tomorrow. P11 though, not horrendous. And obviously the grid is so tight that P11, there's still some good opportunity to get some big points. But obviously we're not doing ourselves any favours. It's just we've got to make up for it in the race. Let's go to the grid and see how we can do from P11.
The Formula One circus has made its way to the southern coast of Portugal this week, and it's preparing for what I expect to be a terrific race here in Portimao. So Portimao features 15 turns over the course of its 2.9-mile length. 9 are right-handers, 6 are to the left, and this is a track with a lot of uphill action, which only accentuates the importance of getting those exits right, especially at turn 4, where a good line can present opportunities to pass on the way into turn 5. With the Grand Prix nearly upon us, Anthony Davidson is by my side once again to offer his perspective. Let's have a chat about McLaren. We've had a significant regulation change for this season, but from what I can gather at this early stage, it seems they've had some trouble adapting their car.
There are a few downcast looks within the team this weekend. I think they've been hit fairly hard by the new regs. But this is only the first step down a long road of development, and even if they don't maximise their points today, there are plenty more up for grabs this season.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. A fantastic effort from Pierre Gasly yesterday puts him on pole, and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Leclerc, Button, Carlos Sainz and Perez, Mick Schumacher, Tsunoda, Hamilton and George Russell, the owner driver, Norris, Daniel Ricciardo and Ocon, Stroll, Giovinazzi, Valtteri Bottas and Guan Yu Zhou, Ireland, Latifi, Matsushita and Christian Lundgaard. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head to trackside for today's race.
So we must have missed a sensational Q3 in the wet as well, full wet conditions. Pierre Gasly in the AlphaTauri is on pole position. That would have been such a classic if it was in real life there. You know, obviously the wet, sometimes an equalizer. The driver can make a big difference in those conditions if the car is there. The AlphaTauri is a very decent car this season, and then Gasly's made the difference on pole position. Jenson P4, very solid there. Verstappen showing the Merc actually genuinely has the pace to be up there as well. So, I don't know. Let's see how this goes. Can Gasly hold off Verstappen? And then what's going to happen with Button there in P4? He's around the Ferraris and the Red Bulls. So that's going to be an interesting one. And what can we do alongside the 2 McLarens who are knocked out in Q2? We, all 3 of us, we're looking to make up places. And so here we go then to 5 red lights. Round number 3 at the Portuguese Grand Prix for Season 4 is underway as the lights are out. It's a bit of a slow start for Russell there. Bit of wheel spin for the Alpine, and we get a good run with the RS here. A bit of a slow AlphaTauri ahead of us of Tsunoda. Very tight at turn 1, but we actually make a really lovely move on the inside of Tsunoda as we watch on Sainz v Hamilton, Mercedes v Ferrari. We're trying to make it 3 wide, but a little bit too wide with some understeer there. And Hamilton gets ahead up into P7, but Sainz coming back at him. This is a ding-dong battle going on into the hairpin. Sainz the long way round. Meanwhile, Gasly, I can see on the minimap, is still in the lead of this Grand Prix from pole position. But Sainz and Hamilton, they're having an exquisite battle going on. Continues into the heart of Sector 2, down the crest, up the hill now as we creep over that massive undulation, that roller coaster that we call Portimao. Sainz on the inside gets the job done on Hamilton up into P7, but what a battle brewing there. But yeah, in the lead is Pierre Gasly then. It looks like Button is is up into second place. Verstappen down to fourth, it would seem, as the Red Bull, I think, of Mick Schumacher is up into P4 there. So a lot of changing, and quite a few people got some, differing starts there. A few, some really electric ones, and then some slower than others. And we're getting a really good run and tow on Hamilton using ERS across the line, down the inside. Easy does it into turn one, rolling the car through and not trying to go too wide there to extend the track on the left-hand side. Slow it down for the very awkward right-hander into the left. And then we go chasing after Carlos Sainz if we can. Definitely a little bit more of a groove already at Portimao this season compared to last. Of course, the car is better at Portimao now than it was this time last season, of course, because this is a fully maxed out, well, near enough maxed out My Team car that we've got, minus the brake upgrades that seem to actually make the car a little bit worse, I've seen online. So now we go for a move on Sainz, whilst there's a side-by-side moment ahead as Perez gets ahead of Leclerc. It seems always defending against Leclerc. No, I think he got ahead of him because Leclerc is on the medium tyre. Of course, everyone qualified in the full wet condition, so they've got a free choice of tyre compound. It is going to be a one-stop for everyone, so the only reason why the medium may be better at the start of the race, maybe you go longer, well, not at the start, in the middle of the race, it might be better, but right now, it's going to make Leclerc suffer, and Verstappen as well, because Verstappen has also chosen the medium tyre, so basically Perez there getting past Leclerc. We need to do the same, and we need to also follow Perez and get past Verstappen, because these guys are going to be slower right now. They should be slower, and we should be the faster ones right now when the tyres are still pretty intact, as Perez goes chasing after the Mercedes car. We're chasing after the Ferrari on the left-hand side. They're pulling out ERS. Oh, there's the car! Oh, my God! My word, we were inches away from absolute disaster. Mick Schumacher retiring out of this Grand Prix. And, well, we were going for a move on Leclerc. The FIA, or the marshals rather, doing a pretty piss-poor job at, identifying that incident and waving yellow flags. And if we had just moved, like 1 pixel, I feel, 1 or 2 pixels to the left, that could have been us crashing into the back of Mick Schumacher as he retired, trying to slow down this video and just see what went on there. Ay, 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 that is so close for comfort. That is literally, we're so lucky. We're so lucky we did not DNF ourselves off Schumacher there. Right, got to make the most of it now because we've just survived a DNF here. So we've got to, try and take the gift from the F1 gods and go forth. And now we watch on back to the live action. Sergio Perez once again finds himself as the only Red Bull in the race as Schumacher. That's, 2 DNFs in a row now. Really unlucky, the Red Bull team as a whole there, not having their 2 cars, their 2 very quick cars in these races. Perez unable to overtake Verstappen though. Verstappen very good in defense there off the back of turn 1, but this time round, second time lucky, Perez on the inside again. It's a bit of deja vu, but this time he has the elbows fully out there and is able to, well, literally shove Verstappen off the racing line and get up into P3. Perez showing that the Red Bull is quick this season, but they just haven't been able to pull it all together, either in qualifying or on the races, with Schumacher having 2 DNFs there. But this is a crucial kind of period of our race. We need to try and get past Verstappen with the, well, least amount of time wasted really battling the Dutchman as Perez did for 2 laps there, because look at the gap from Perez to Button. It has grown significantly, and it's even bigger from Button to Gasly. Gasly in the AlphaTauri, by the way, is controlling this race beautifully. 4.5 the gap is in the AlphaTauri. We're now hustling and harrying Verstappen, looking around the outside, can't quite make it. The traction is evading me through that left-hander. It's kind of off camber, very awkward up the hill, but now we're going to go for the dive, the pounce on the inside with DRS. Oy, oy, oy. Very close with Verstappen. The rear end is wagging away, and Verstappen is still there despite us deploying ERS. Now side by side through the next double right-hander, giving them room to work with though, because we can't just fully squeeze him out, otherwise there'll be some contact made. So having to let off the throttle a little bit to give him some room to work with, but there we shove him off the road there and do our part. And Leclerc with with the dive on the outside there. Beautiful move from the Ferrari. They're side by side now. They're going to battle. And will Leclerc get down the inside? I think he will do. Really great racing here. Portimao really turning up for the books in Season 4. Season 3, I will admit, felt a little bit dull. I felt this race, the debut in my team. But Season 4, I mean, we're only 11 laps in. We've had some great action. AI on AI. And then myself versus them as well. And we're up into P4. Once again, our team is looking strong. This time, we're not looking weak at Portimao, which is maybe a good sign for the whole season that we've got a great car underneath us, which is even more worrying, really, that Jenson is so consistent, because it may mean that we're fighting Button, you know, my favourite F1 driver. We may be fighting him directly for the championship if it continues to go like this in terms of consistency, you got to say. Obviously, that's a long way off, long way to go. I'm not really counting anything just quite yet in terms of the championship, so we press on. And the tyres are feeling it now. The soft compound on lap 12, and Leclerc is lurking. The mediums are now better, and Leclerc goes for the dive bomb, and he's sent it. He's absolutely licked the stamp, and he's sent it, and he's got the move. Verstappen even tried it. We've got the orange icon on the bottom right there that was on the onboard heads-up display, and we're going to say box in this lap, because this is the time. Look at that right tyre. The texture even is so poor. Those tyres are dead. They're shot. The tyre wear is so high around here. That's why you do a one-stop with the hard compound, because also the way the circuit is, such a long lap, the pit lane as well, so slow, it's not worth doing a two-stop around here, unfortunately. It just means that you have to go onto the hard compound. There's no way to avoid it. Perez is in, Gasly in as well, though, so not just me thinking it's time to come in off these soft tyres, but now this is where Leclerc and Verstappen could put some work in on the mediums. You know, they're going to go a few more laps, and they may have just that little bit more pace compared to our colder, hard tyres, because I remember from last season, it took us a long while to heat up. Like, these hards need to really rubber in properly. Norris and Hamilton are now in, and we're ahead of them. Sainz as well, though, so we've done well. It's now on lap 14, though. There's a big crash there for Esteban Ocon. He slides off the road into the gravel, and into the wall he goes, and he has the same view Mick Schumacher had last episode at Imola, and that's going to be the full course safety car is out here at Portimao, and you've got Gasly through into P1 again, Button P2, Guan Yu Zhou P3 in the Williams, but he's yet to pit in this race, though, by the way, so he's not actually in P3. Perez is going to be in P3 eventually. Right now on the road P4. Leclerc and Tsunoda jumped me. They've got ahead of us. Leclerc and Tsunoda. Tsunoda was miles back from us. He's the real winner. At least we were kind of somewhat near Leclerc, but now he's ahead of us, and Tsunoda as well. So they've gained massively in this round of pit stops, because they pit, you know, whilst the safety car came out, whilst we're going at a slower delta time pace. So Gasly leads us away still, by the way. He's been doing we haven't seen too much of him, because he's been doing such a great job at controlling this race. I don't know what the hell he's on, because Tsunoda here is racing us, but he's out there in the other AlphaTauri just doing really, really well, I guess, carrying momentum and confidence from that amazing pole position lap, as we don't really get the restart correct there. We kind of got duped a little bit by Tsunoda, because I kind of dabbed the brakes for a bit there, so having to come back at him. Tsunoda, though, slow in the domino effect of this right-hander, and we catch him napping maybe, as we're now side by side. He's still there, he's got his nose in, but we've got the racing line off that corner. The acceleration's so good for the AlphaTauri. He's back down the inside there, and the Ferrari as well. Where the hell has he come from? Where has Sainz come from? Where are these AI getting that speed off that left-hander? Sainz has made a double overtake there. He's now side by side with the Japanese driver Tsunoda, trying his hardest, and he does get back through. This is actually amazing racing. Like, this is insane. This looks like F2 racing, as now I've been overtaken by Hamilton. We're losing all kind of composure. These hard tyres just aren't working for me right now. They're not switched on, and I'm not switched on, as I keep being duped in the brake zones here. We need to kind of get into gear a little bit, get our head in the game, and try and get back through and make a move on someone here. It's Sainz, Tsunoda, anyone, but it takes a few laps. Lap 20, we're still behind Sainz. You know, he's just had some pace to hold us here, but now we go for the dive, the lunge into the right-hander. Slow as you want, second gear, trying to get the nose turned in on the outside. This time, though, we get the acceleration. Sainz will come back at us, though. We're going to cover him off. He goes to the outside. We go defensive to the inside. Sainz squeezing us into the apex there. My rear end steps out. We're going to bang tyres, and Hamilton's there as well. I didn't even know he was there. Where are these people coming from? Like a genuine question. I keep finding a third car around me, and now I've lost the back end, and Norris has now joined the party to try and attack me. We squeeze him out, but now we've got, again, Sainz and Hamilton. They just can't get enough of each other. They're fighting each other again, like they were at the start of the race. But I don't even know where Hamilton was in that situation. Like, my 3D awareness did not even know Hamilton was there in that vicinity whilst we were going side by side with Sainz and the hairpin there. These guys are just kind of watching us with a bucket of popcorn and then finding the space. They're doing what I do to AI usually, just kind of sitting back and waiting to get the move. So myself and Sainz are still battling, but Tsunoda and Hamilton now are both ahead of us, so we need to get past the Ferrari. He is the man holding us up. You know, Sainz, he's quick, but he's actually not quick enough for me, for my race, in terms of I can go quicker. I just need to stop getting in a fight with Sainz. I need to get rid of him. We keep overtaking him, but then not finishing the job off. Here we go again. We've got DRS this time, though, so that's going to help us. No, Sainz still there. This is actually a monumental fight. Norris is involved now as well. Sainz has given me the best fight I've had for a while in terms of just pure annoyance, like actual genuine annoyance at an AI for just keep on coming back at us. But now Norris, thankfully, will be the one to overtake him, stop him in his tracks. I think Sainz has maybe outdone his tyres a bit by fighting us so much. And now Ricciardo looks to maybe get on the back of him. Bottas on the softs there as well, maybe as well. But we're going to try and push on and catch back up to Lewis Hamilton. And then, well, I don't know, Tsunoda's now 6 seconds up the road. So can we really catch him? I don't know. Once we hopefully overtake Hamilton, this may be a bit of a dull affair to the end of the Grand Prix. That may be the end of it in terms of our moves today. Let's see as we're gaining, using all the ERS across the line. The DRS flap will open. Lando's there as well, though, lurking about, but we've got to make the move first on the Mercedes. Pull out to the inside. We've locked up a little bit, gone wide, but we've just about slowed it down and kept it within the white lines. And now Hamilton has the McLaren all over the back of him. We actually got away from Hamilton quite a lot there in the first two turns and pushed away. And now Norris, can he make a move? No, not quite. Oh, he goes for the late dive. Oh my goodness me. What a move by Lando Norris there. The reigning world champion showing he's still got his groove. McLaren have gotten so unlucky. I don't know what's happened to them. They're just not in the groove of the strategy, qualifying well. Race pace is sort of there, but Lando tripping over himself, obviously at Bahrain and at Imola. This time round, just kind of showing a lack of qualifying pace really for McLaren, but showing some good race pace and racecraft there, showing why he's the reigning world champion. A sensational dive that was, because I didn't think he was going to make that move. He was stuck behind Hamilton, and then last minute he just pulled out and sent it. Fair play to him. But like I said, 6 seconds up the road, Tsunoda, I don't think we're catching him, because Tsunoda is catching Leclerc, and Leclerc is catching Button, and Button, well, he's been overtaken by Perez. We've actually missed this overtake, but Perez has got past Button. I'm going to guess it was just probably in a straight line, to be honest, so I don't think we need to actually go back and watch it. But Perez up to second place, but I don't think he has anything to answer for Gasly. Gasly is just so good right now, out in the lead. Meanwhile, back to our POV, overcast conditions, lap 28, and Norris, look at him flying. That McLaren is so quick in a straight line here. Hang on.
Just yet, but we've seen a problem at our end. We're looking into it.
No. Okay, we've got maybe another engine issue. We had one at Bahrain. If our ERS breaks again, then we're finished, because Norris was so quick. That McLaren with DRS in the right conditions, I guess he had a lot of battery maybe. He was going off like a rocket ship. That was mad. If our ERS breaks again, we are probably going to end up out the pointer at this rate, because not... Oh no! The engine's gone!
Looks like a
the
mechanical
engine's
failure.
gone!
We're going to have to ask you to find a safe spot to retire.
Oh,
sorry
my
about that.
God.
This is serious. We need you to retire as soon as possible.
Oh, the engine's gone pop. Oh, we've gone up in smokes. The third time only in our entire My Team series, our engine is blown up, and we're having to retire from the Portuguese Grand Prix. No points, nil points. And it means that, well, we didn't see the ending, but Gasly will go through to win with a podium of Perez and Button. Here, Gasly, a 3-time race winner in this alternate F1 universe. He won last season in the AlphaTauri, again, having won in real life in 2020, and he wins here today.
Then here in Portimao, in what has been another outstanding Grand Prix. Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today. What set them apart from the rest?
Without a doubt, the safety car changed everything today. The key to their success was keeping calm and reacting to the situation quickly. We've seen teams in the past throw away wins because they were too hesitant, but here they were decisive, and that's allowed them to take the advantage.
Our winners are heading to the podium right now. AlphaTauri have done an exceptional job when it comes to forging new talent and seeing them take home the victory. Today is a huge positive for the future of the sport.
Well, what a statement. AlphaTauri, new livery this season to kind of, establish themselves as more of a secondary Red Bull team rather than the junior team, with the Red Bull stickering on their engine cover, and showing why maybe, because they've won a race before the quote-unquote Red Bull racing team. That is quite unbelievable, and Gasly deserves it. Pole position amazingly in wet conditions, and then he just carried, I think the confidence in his AI, the coding must have just meant that he just, carried the pace, because I would have thought Perez would have caught him a bit, but he kept him at arm's length. 4.4 seconds the gap was, and Button, again, on the podium for the 3rd time in a row. This man does not miss. This man is carrying this team. I mean, I know we got unlucky today with the DNF. That's another thing of that's just so unlucky. That's, well, I've said it last season. There were, a few instances where, we didn't score points and we couldn't let that happen again. Already so early on in the season, we've had a DNF like this. We need to really pull some points back. But look at this. If it wasn't for Jenson, he's doing too good of a job really, because if it wasn't for him, look at this. The Gasly, Verstappen and Leclerc are all level on points. I'm 1 point back, and then 2 points further back is Perez. This is bonkers. This is absolutely bonkers. If you take out Jenson out of the equation, this would be the most titanic championship fight or standings going ever. But Jenson Button is there. He's returned to Formula 1, and he's just slapping everyone in terms of consistency. This is raucous. Like, can anyone actually break this consistency? And when will he get some bad luck that everyone, including myself now, has incurred? Guys, if you have enjoyed that episode, then be sure to smash that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. We've got Mercedes in second, AlphaTauri up in third, ahead of Red Bull, Ferrari, Williams still ahead of McLaren, and ahead of Alpine. A lot of people scoring a lot of points, but it's so tight and it's so competitive. This has been a crazy season so far. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you're new around here, do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.